Here we are. All righty. Good morning, everybody. Is there an earthquake? I don't know. You tell me. I don't feel one. Why would there be an earthquake? Now, let me see here. Okay. Okay. All right. We're here. We're ready to go. It's been a while since I've streamed. I think it's almost 7 weeks since I've streamed. Long time, almost 2 months. It's been a while. Anyway, we're here because I'm getting ready to go on another journey. And this one's a little more tedious, a little more strenuous than the last one. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons why I go where I go. But really, the main one is I don't want to be around a bunch of tourists. I've already seen, you know, you name it, man. I've been there pretty much. And if I haven't, well, maybe it's worth going there or whatever. Maybe I just missed it. But maybe I've been there, you know, 5 or 10 or 25 times and I don't want to go back. So I am trying to go to places that tourists don't normally go to. The last place that I went to, Umpang, I mean, there were some Thai tourists there, and I saw one foreigner, but that was about it. In the whole place, I saw one foreigner. Now, this place is supposed to be even more secluded. I'll be in the forest for 4 days. I'll be in the jungle for 4 days, and then I'll be there for a day in advance and 2 days after. So, you know, I'll be a little bit busy, and I'm going to be carrying a lot less stuff than I carried the last time, which I learned a little bit from the last trek and what I was carrying. I debated on whether I should stream from home or stream from here, and I thought, well, I got some things to do today, so I might as well just do it here. But I got a nice cappuccino here. And I don't remember, but I think right when I stopped streaming the last time. Hey, Andy, how you doing? How's things? Glad to see you. But the last time that I streamed, which was 6-7 weeks ago, I had found a place in the back of the mall. And they serve a lot of sweets, a lot of, like, you know, banana feed cakes, coconut cakes, macarons. They serve a lot of things. They've got a larger variety than they do here, but I don't eat the food here, which, you know, I used to a long time ago, but I don't anymore. Anyway, the place in the back has great cappuccinos, and their cappuccino is half the price, more than half the price of, well, it's half the price of what it is here, and it's better and it's a little bigger. But they don't open until 10 o'clock, 10:30, so that's why I'm here. Anyway, I got a cappuccino and a water. I'll be down in that. But today we're going to talk about, you know, the thing is that I've been kind of morphing my channel into, hey, how you doing? I've been morphing my channel into kind of getting old. And I don't want to say that I'm getting old, because I acknowledge that I am older, but I don't want to say I'm an old man, because it's all relative. You see some guy who's 100 years old and he's walking around on his own, you know, maybe he needs help up a hill or something. Nobody's going, you know, oh God, that guy's 100 and he can't do shit. Nobody says that. The guy's 100. Everybody's like, oh my God, he's still functioning. And the reason that I've gotten on this is just because of what I've said many times, is that, you know, like I'm in Pattaya, or I'm in Bangkok, and even just here in the mall, and I see people walking around. It's caused me to think about this a little bit. And I've thought to myself, why is it that there are so many people who are maybe, some of them are like 45, 50 years old. And they're walking, they're shuffling their feet, and they're all slow, and they're... Borneo, I've been to Indonesian Borneo. I went, I don't know how many years ago now. I think it was 18 years ago, 17 years ago. And I had a great time. So enjoy it. You should like it. But, you know, I've been thinking about this, and I'm like, why is it... Now, some of it is hereditary. You got to just acknowledge that. Some of it has to do with people are living hard lives. You know, I mean, they're busting their ass day in and day out. They're 60 years old, and they're still slaving away, throwing weight, you know, they're throwing stuff around, they're loading trucks up, and you know, they can barely do it, some of them, but they're doing it. So they live hard lives, so by the time they're 45 or 50, they may look like they're 60 or 70. But that's not really what's important. It's what you can do for yourself. And it's like, a lot of guys that I see, they're Westerners. Listen, I saw two guys yesterday. One guy was about 40. He's about 320 pounds, maybe 350. Big boy. And his gut was like this. He's walking around. Boof, boof. And I just think to myself, how do you let yourself get that big and overweight? Because I've been overweight, but I've always been muscular. So I've been big, and you know, it's like, I got a little belly, but I've been big, and I've been pretty fit most of the time. And now I'm a lot more fit than I've been in years, but that's neither here nor there. I just see these guys, and I go, what's happened? And so what I'm talking about is the people that have control over over their lives. They can have some control if they want to. And the truth is that, you know, a lot of guys, they just give up. My life is what it is. I'm 50. I'm never gonna, you know, I heard Al Bundy on Marriage, Married with Children. I'll never know the touch of a beautiful woman. I'll never be a professional football player, even though I was a star in high school. I'll never be this, I'll never be that. But I will not touch your fat feet, or something like that, right? Malaysia, okay, Kota Kinabalu. Yeah, I like that area. I don't really know it very well, but I know it. And you should have a good time. How do I deal with burning season? Well, I'm not in Chiang Mai, buddy. I don't have that problem, really. I don't have a problem with burning season here. I mean, everybody has some problem with it if they're close enough to Chiang Mai, and every once in a while it does make a difference here in Bangkok, but I don't have any problem with it. Now, what I was going to say is, before I go any further, is the exchange rate, the dollar is 31.23 to the baht, which is, lately, that's not bad. The temperature is 27 Celsius or 81 Fahrenheit. It's 30, the high is 34, which is 94 Fahrenheit. The low is 26 Celsius, which is 79 Fahrenheit. And the feel-like temperature is 29, which is 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity is 78%, and the air quality is 126, which is not very good. But, you know, today we're going to discuss some of these things that have been on my mind about getting old and how you can stop it, how you can, well, slow it. You can't stop it. You never beat Father Time. But, you know, I was sitting in the mall not that long ago, and I see this guy walking by. And I've talked to him before. And he's in his 70s. And he's not out of shape. He like walks hunched over, and he shuffles his feet. He's probably like 70, 75. I forgot, but and he's got a heart problem. He doesn't do anything for exercise. Does nothing. He doesn't even really. All he does is his exercise is walking in the mall. And I just thought to myself, is this how it's going to end for me? I'm just going to be like, well, today I'm going to go for a walk in the mall and I'm going to have a coffee and that's all I'm going to do. Is this my final act? Is this the last stage of my life? Mall laps and coffee shops and doctor's visits and waiting around, for people to cart me around. And that's the other thing, is that I always see these people in the mall. And now granted, some of them, they're probably 100 years old. But they're being wheeled around by their kids or their grandkids. And some of them are not that old. Now some of them are quite old. And I can kind of understand it. Things just break down and that happens. But there is a word that explains all of this, and it's called entropy. And, before you figure, oh, I don't know what that means and I should just tune out, this is, we're not talking about physics or something. In physics, entropy means that everything naturally moves towards disorder, towards breakdown, towards decay. And when you think about it, you're decaying. From the time you're born, you go up and then you hit a certain point where you peak and then boom, it's all downhill. And it may not be noticeable at first, but let me tell you something. In the last 2 years, I can tell the difference with my body physically. The things I can do, the things I can't do. But if you leave a house alone for 10 years, it falls apart. If you leave a car sitting, it just rusts. And if you leave your body alone, you don't do anything, well, then it gets weak. And if you leave your mind alone, it dulls. And one of the things that I've found is, my friend Jono, he's getting a little older, and he'll go, oh yeah, and he'll tell me a story, and I'll go, you already told me that. Well, now I'm getting to that point, because I'm like, did I tell that person this story? I can't remember. So I'm like, I better start doing some, what are those called? The Sudoku and crossword puzzles and things like that. But there's nobody that's like plotting against you. There's no villain. There's no drama. It's just, you just kind of drift into that. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about, and how if you're aggressive and you're attentive, you don't want to get to that point where you're drifting and where you're floating and whatever's happening is just going to happen to me. And you don't really want that to happen. All right, let me look at this here. Hi, Scott. I heard, okay, burning season. Arrived 2 weeks ago to Bangkok, over 60, timely discussion. Well, are you living here, Bruce, or are you just visiting? Not that it really matters, but I was just wondering. I'll tell you what. If I was 60 considering a place to live, I might still move here. But I might move somewhere else, quite honestly, at this stage in my life, because it's a different stage than when I was 32 years old, 31 and a half, whatever, and I moved over here. It was much different. So back then I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this, I'm gonna die here. This place is awesome, it's the best. And I still think it's a great place, but if you live here long enough, and I'm almost at the point where I've lived here more than half my life, you start to see the good and the bad, and you just realize that it is what it is. Some things are great, some things aren't. That's just how it is. Now, I wanted to talk about, there's a certain word. You remember that word cowabunga? And that word is slang to express high energy or triumph or joy or whatever. And it originally came from the Howdy Doody show, if you are old enough to remember that show. And I used to watch the reruns when I was a kid. It's Howdy Doody time, it's Howdy Doody, that show, okay? Chief Thunder Tud used to use that word to express anger or excitement. Okay? And in the 60s, it was adopted by surfers and skateboarders later on to shout about exciting moments, or like pulling off a trick or riding a big wave. Cowabunga! And then later on in pop culture, it was used by Michelangelo of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and also by Bart Simpson in The Simpsons. Now, the only reason I know about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is because I used to take karate at, a karate dojo a long time ago. And the guy who was my instructor was one of the stunt doubles, and he used to do a lot of the tricks. I don't know who he was, which one he was, but he was part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that's how I know that. But anyway, it sounds kind of corny, but this is kind of like how I view life now. How many cowabunga moments do I have left? Because I want to keep pulling these things off. And, maybe it's just something as simple as going for a long walk. I mean, I do that sometimes, but but right now I'm just going to the gym and preparing myself to get in better shape to do these longer walks and kayaking and all these other kind of things that I'm doing. And some people might call it like adrenaline. But the more moments you have that are memorable, to me, it's like the greater that you value your life. And I've had a lot of fantastic moments in my life. I'm not like fantastically rich or anything like that. I mean, we're well off. We're fairly well off. But the things that I've done over time, that's what I look forward to. So now I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here, I talked about it before. I just sit here and I'm having my coffee, enjoying my coffee. I'm like, God, what else do I want to do? Do I just want to sit and binge watch, some show on Netflix? Do I want to go to the mall every day? Which I go about 4 or 5 times a week. Is this what I want to do? Is this what I want out of my life? And I'm like, no, it's not all I want out of my life. But I don't want to go and see the Grand Palace or Damnun Saduic floating market. I don't need to go and see that stuff again. I've already been there and done that, and I don't care if it changed. Because I've captured it in that time. And you think about it, if I was photographing and filming things back from 32 years ago, you think about how different it would be to now. But, most of the time life is kind of like a series of mundane, boring tasks, and that's the bottom line. Life gets boring. And the idea is to fill your life with enough of these moments, these cowabunga moments, these memorable moments, to keep you looking forward to the next exciting moment. And that's what I'm trying to do. I went to Calipe, and that was all right, but, it was kind of mellow, and I just wanted to go to the beach, to a place that a lot of people don't go, and there weren't many tourists there. That was great. I think I did that early this year. And then I went to Umpang, and now I'm going to Sariang, and maybe I'll be going home to Florida in a couple of months. And then I want to do some kayaking things, and then I want to kayak the Tapi River in the south of Thailand, and I want to go, there's a couple other hikes I'm going to do. So I got a lot of things to keep me busy. Okay? I work my mind hard, always learning. I get deep into physics, and even people I know do not work their mind near enough to stay physical but not mental. Yeah. How is your gold stock or ETF or whatever it was doing? I don't have any of that stuff. And I'm glad you're happy with it. I'm very happy with what we have. That's what I'll say. So, barring any huge catastrophes, I think we're going to be just fine. pretty much, I don't want to say for the rest of our lives, because it's kind of like, you just don't know. I mean, you know, I could live to be 95 and like I'm 90 and I go, shit, I don't have much money left anymore. My wife is dead. My kids, you know, they're long gone. I don't know what's going on, and I'm not living the way I used to. You know, I don't know. But what I do know is that we're fine now, and we've planned, and we're doing well. So there he is, Tokyo Sam, Tokyo Sammy. What is happening? Yeah, you know, it's been nice not streaming, to be honest. But I'll tell you what, I did kind of miss it this morning. I was like, well, I'm kind of excited to be streaming again. And yeah, you know, so I don't know, I'm thinking, you know, I said before, maybe I'll do it once a month. I don't know, maybe it's every 2 weeks, maybe it's, I don't know. Because I do feel like I'm kind of missing out a little bit. I don't have the same connection that I used to have with people. But let me just continue here. I want to just get through this stuff here. If you don't know, my name is Scott, and I am an American in Bangkok. I've been living here in Thailand for almost 32 years, almost half my life. And I've been on YouTube for a little more than 13 years. And I concentrate mainly on videos and streams about Thailand and Southeast Asia and various other expat destinations. Do me a favor, please. Yes, click like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Some people hit the notification bell, nothing happens. Some people hit it and they get notified. And the reason is so that you get notified of all the upcoming videos and any live streams that I'm going to be doing. And if you need a paid consultation, email me at anamericaninbangkok@gmail.com. All right, I want to give thanks to Mr. Longhorns, Mr. Jim Girardi, Mr. Jim, Mr. Carnivore Chronicles, Mr. Botman, Mr. Carlos Colucci. Carlos, I hope you're doing well. I don't know where you are right now, if you're back in the States or you're here, but Fire Dude, Narve, Charles Akana. Charles, how you doing? Haven't heard from you lately. Mr. Tom O'Connell, haven't heard from you in quite some time. Mr. Mitch, I hope you're doing well. Andy Travels, there you are, you're still here. Mr. Tokyo Sam, Sammy. Stephen K, haven't heard from him in a while. John from Suwon. Mr. Tim Mays, Mindy Corcoran. Well, I spelled that wrong. Corcoran. Lee, Mr. Tony, Mr. Henry MacGyver, and we got some new people here. We got A Hero's Journey. We got Ellie Barr. We got Patricia Weiss, Ray, Andrew Miller. We got Tim Gamba Corta. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We got Arthur Pilibosian. We got Michael M. We got Dimitri Elaine. Thank you so much to you guys. And we got Leon 1078. So those are some of the people that have helped the channel, and you know, it all adds up. And you know, all the what are they called? I don't even remember now. Super chats, super thanks, you know, all the Cash App things, everything that everybody uses, they all add up, and I appreciate it. You know, at the end of the day, that's what happens. They add up. And that's what helps me to be able to continue doing some of these trips. I mean, in the beginning, all the money that came in, it went directly to the trips. And it financed a lot of the trips. I mean, completely financed it. I went to Myanmar, I don't know how many years ago, probably 12 years ago. I went to go photograph the Muslims in northern Myanmar that were fighting with the Buddhists. I went there. That was a huge nut. And I went there, and it was completely covered by subscribers. And I was so grateful for that because it was a really hardcore trip. Now the money can't cover the trips. Listen, YouTube isn't the same as it was, say, 12, 13, 15 years ago. It's not the same. I'm not the same, and that's fine. I don't really care quite as much as I used to. But every little bit adds up. So anyway, now, the truth is that this entropy or decline, people's decline, whatever the decline is, that's the default for human beings. People decline. You don't have to work. You don't have to do anything to get weaker. You don't have to do anything to lose muscle mass and strength. You don't have to schedule a brain fog. It just happens. You have control over it, but only up to a point. So what happens is some people, they just go, man, that's it. And they don't push anymore. They give up. You know, they just give up. They're like, oh, I'm 60, I'm 65. I don't want to do anything. How many guys have you saw that, you know, they're 65, 66, and all they do is walk out to their front yard? Maybe if they're feeling spry, they go out and mow their yard. And they stay home all the time. You know, that's what they do. They stay home. They don't go anywhere. Now, if you're in your 80s and you want to stay home, I kind of understand it. You know, you don't want to go out, hey, I'm going dancing tonight. I kind of understand it a little bit. But, you know, I'm almost 64 and I feel pretty good. And I train, I work on my cardio, I walk, I bike, I row a lot. I do a lot of rowing. I go on the Dyna bike, and the gym just installed some of those skiing things. I forget what it's called, but I think it's a Stairmaster Hit Ski Master or whatever they call it. But I've never used the Stairmaster or the elliptical, but I do plan on doing that just because I always like rowing. That's my favorite thing, rowing. And up until a short time ago, I was on the treadmill all the time, walking at like 10, 15% incline for like 45 minutes, an hour. But this is the one thing. When you get older, you start having injuries. And sometimes those injuries are very slow to heal. An example is my shoulder. It's almost been a year. All I did was fall off the back of a bike, and I didn't fall like where I went down and I was rolling on the ground. All I did was kind of hop off the bike so that the bike didn't fall on me. And I felt something in my side, and I just went, oh. And then I went, oh shit, my shoulder. It's my shoulder that hurts. And ever since then, it was a rotator cuff tear. Ever since then, my shoulder is hurt, and it's about 65% of what it used to be, and I'm still trying to do little exercises to make it better, you know, stretching it out and using the bands, and, you know, I mean, I do what I can. But I lift, I just don't do overhead, you know. So when you get a little bit older, and I think, you know, Arnold is somebody that would concur with this, when you get a little bit older, and most people, they know, you're just not trying to push the same heavy weight. You don't have that ego, well, I gotta bench press 350 pounds. You know, you just don't have to do that. You're doing it to stay, it's maintaining and to try to keep yourself a little more fit. And I watch what I eat. This is one of my vices, this and the dirty coffee. I work on my VO2 max, if you know what that is, and it's about 42 to 44, which for my age is very, very good. I work on grip strength. I'm still active with the wife and the kids, and, you know, so I'm still producing, I'm still planning, I'm still doing things. But the uncomfortable part is that when you start getting a little older, and some people, they get old, it hits them when they're 50 or 55. Some people, it doesn't hit them until they're 65 or 70. You don't accidentally become impressive to people. You have to choose it. You have to work hard for it. And when I was in my teens and in my 20s, I could walk around the block a couple times and I was in fantastic shape. I could run good. I could run fast. I didn't really have to work very hard. When you're 25, life forces you forward. Go out there. Get out there. When you're 35, your career pushes you. And when you're 45, most of the time you're dealing with kids. When you're between 35 and 45, you're dealing with your kids. Now, I'm dealing with my kids, but my kids are older. They don't need me. They don't want to hear what I got to say. I start telling them something to do, and they're like, they roll their eyes at me. Sometimes they listen, but most of the time they're just like, ugh. They don't want to hear it. So I got a bit of the empty nest syndrome going on, even though my kids live at home. Smash the like button. Yes, MGTOW Gamer, how you doing? Long time no see. All right, so let me go on here. And when you get to be 60, at least 60, that's when people really start seeing the end. They start seeing retirement. They start thinking about retire, or they're already retired. I know a guy, he was 37, he retired, and he's been traveling since then. And now he's starting to feel a bit like, I don't feel like doing this so much anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I understand it, but they have to come up with something to do. And that's the thing. I mean, even if it's you go bowling once a week in a league and you're practicing 3 times a week, that's something to keep you going. You might be 75, 80 years old, but you're out there slinging that ball. And I think that's great. But a lot of people, they just drift and they just piddle around, they lay around and they get fat or they get lazy and they don't want to do anything. If you look at like old fighters and old tennis players, say old athletes, whatever, you don't have to necessarily be an athlete. It's just easier to see the decline in athletes. But everyone gets old. Eventually, people age, and fighters, they last a little bit longer now just because of the improved diet and exercise techniques and things like that. But father time catches up with all of us, and there's really nothing that we can do. All we can do is fight to slow it down. And listen, I'd rather go out fighting, kicking and screaming, than just giving in and saying, well, I'm old now. This is it. What is that over there? Oh, it's like a little thing hanging here. I don't know if you see it up here. I just noticed this. I've never noticed it before. But right about there, that thing right there. And there's a couple of them around periodically. That's kind of cool. This mall is a lot better than it used to be, but it's still not. I went to Emporium the other day with Mr. Billy. He was in town for a while, and we went to Emporium. And I haven't been there in, God, years. I've been to M. Quartier, but I just don't walk across and go to Emporium. For some reason, we went to Emporium. I don't even remember why we went to Emporium. Oh, we wanted to go to Sarni's. That's what it was. Then we're there and we're like, all right, let's walk around a bit. And I saw all these great shops. I was like, oh, they got the On Cloud shoes, got the Solomon shoes. You got all these sports places. You got all these restaurants now. I'm like, the place was good before. But like now it's even better. We went downstairs and had some tea at the tea place. What's the name of it? TGW? What's the tea? Let me see here. Is that what it is? TWG. Yeah. TWG tea. And we had some Moroccan mint tea. And man, that was fantastic. And just those little things like that. We sat there. We had a jar of tea, and it was so good. We just sat there and enjoyed it. And we're sitting there just looking around, going, "Oh, this is great." So, you know, when you get a little bit older, some of those smaller things, they mean more. You have to think of something to do. Yeah, dude, I like my jobs. I wouldn't mind doing them till I die. I never imagined myself retiring. Yeah, I mean, you know, slowing down is one thing. If you slow down, that's okay. I mean, you know, it's I understand. You get older and you can't do the things you used to do. There's things I can't do. Now, I'll tell you about that in a minute, but I got to look at something real quick here. They got all kinds of new people working here now. What am I looking at? Let's see here. There we go. Oh, she sent a photo. What is this? Oh, God. Her and the cats. You know, I just have to give in to her about the cats. Anyway. What is this? Tea or something? Anyway, let me see here. What was Sammy saying? Yeah, I wouldn't mind retiring. I think, you know, it's okay if you slow down, because what are you supposed to do? When I was 22, you know, this is all true. I don't care what anybody thinks, and you know, I mean, this is how it was. When I was 22 or 23, I used to go running because I was involved in kickboxing and boxing and karate, and I used to be like, oh, I gotta run. So I would go out, and you know, I was working part-time, you know, I was renting a room from somebody, and I used to go and run. Like, sometimes I'd go run like in the middle of the day. I ran 10 kilometers in 41 minutes, which is pretty good. And it was all over hills. And then I went to Mount SAC, which is Mount San Antonio College. And I had a buddy of mine time me, and I ran a mile in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, I never ran like to be a runner. I just ran for boxing and for kickboxing. Now, oh my God. I mean, you know, 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I probably do it in 12 minutes now. I do a 12-minute mile. And I used to do a 4.5-minute mile. So I know I can't do what I used to do. And there is absolutely nothing that's going to bring me back to when I was, say, 23 years old. And I used to tell the boxers that I worked with, every second that ticks by is one less second in your career, one less second that you can earn money, that you can fight. Because you're heading towards the end, and there is a time, there's a shelf life. So you better make the most out of the time that you have. And, you know, we all have short periods of time when we are at our peak, whether we're athletes or not. And some people never reach their peak. And, you know, I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about what he thinks now when he looks in the mirror, which is kind of funny. And he acknowledged that he's aged and that he has to accept the changes in his body, the changes from being firm and perky and powerful and having the greatest body on the earth to losing that muscle definition and stating that while his current physique might still be better than a lot of people's, the decline to him is so noticeable, and he just shakes his head. And it's one thing to see yourself getting older and more out of shape, but the problem with a lot of people is that most people have never ever been in shape. They have never went like this and seen muscles. They've never flexed and went, oh my God, you look big now. Oh, you look good. You look fit. A lot of people can't do that. They've never been able to do that. So really, they're not getting out of shape. In fact, they look at their shitty body, and it's as they age, it's just gotten to be an even shittier body. And that's the thing. I mean, I'm 64, and you know, I don't look like I was when I was 20 years old, when I was ripped and just, you know, I mean, I didn't have any real size on me, but I was ripped. But I still look pretty good. I take my clothes off and I look pretty good. I look all right, you know. I don't look that bad. And I'm like, hey, that's all right. I'll take that. I'll take it. I don't have to be Mr. Universe or any of that kind of shit. You know, and I think this is something that people should be taught from a very young age, and that's that you got to prepare for old age, because old age ain't for pussies. I mean, really, it's not. Like, now I'm like, oh, God. You know, I'm like, well, maybe I should get this vitamin. All right, I'm going to get this vitamin. I have protein drinks every single day. I have 2 of them a day to make sure that I'm getting over 200 grams of protein every day. And the thing is that if I don't have that, okay, I'm going to have to get it from somewhere else, which means I'm going to be eating a lot of chicken, a lot of tuna, a lot of egg whites. And, you know, sometimes the protein is just very, it's an easy way to get it. I like your channel, just stumbled upon it a couple weeks ago. I am a 50-year-old Canadian. I've traveled to Thailand 8 times for tourism and now considering retiring early to move to Thailand. Well, that's good. Hopefully you can do that. Just do it smart. You know? I mean, really, that's what you want to do. You want to do it the right way. And now, I can tell you, now is not the time in history here in Thailand to just wing it and say, oh, I'm just, you know, I don't know if I got enough. I'm gonna do what I can to be able to make it. You know, it's just not the right time. I mean, you just can't do that. Well, that would be a shock, I'm sure. Maybe she'll like it. Hopefully she'll like it, or maybe you'll be like, hi, Brad in Ottawa. How you doing? That's funny. Moving to Thailand would be a shock for anyone. But I heard something the other day. You know, well, here's the thing. You should be taught these things from a young age. You should be taught, you know, when you get older, this is what's going to happen. You better prepare for this. Just like you better save money. That's something that people really need to do when they're young, and they need to get it ingrained in their head. And I heard something the other day. It goes something like this. If you aren't doing anything, you are standing still. And if you're moving and you're really not doing that much, but you seem to be moving, basically it's like you're doing a lot of nothing. You are running in place at the bottom of a hill. Nothing more. You're just running in place at the bottom of a hill, but you're not getting anywhere. So you always have to have some goals, and you have to have some things that, you know, you got to aspire to do. And I'll tell you what, I'm looking right now at Decathlon. I don't usually shop all that much at Decathlon. I've got, I don't know if you guys know about it, but I got some tape on my foot, because one of the things that happens to some people is you get something called plantar fasciitis when you walk a lot, or your calves, like my calves are really muscular. They're very tight. And I stretch, and I'm always pretty limber. Even now, I'm pretty limber. Not like I used to be, but you get plantar fasciitis, and what that is there's the fascia under your foot. There's a little, like a strap that goes from the ball of your foot, and I don't know if it goes past your heel or if it just attaches to the heel. But what happens is your calf gets so tight that it starts pulling on it, and then you start feeling pain. It feels like your heel is bruised, and it's not, but it feels like it. And then the arch of your foot is painful also. So I've had this pain. And that's why I stopped being on the treadmill. Now I'm just riding the bike. I got one more workout left before I leave. 1 or 2. And the thing is that there's some tape out there. It's called Leuko tape. It's called K tape. And if you tape it's like a sports tape. If you tape your foot, or like I also do my shoulders sometimes. I didn't do it yesterday, but I did my foot. My foot is taped right now, and I know this is funny, but these are my shoes. And the reason I have these shoes is because of this cushion. My feet don't touch the ground. The bottom of my feet do not touch the ground. That cushion is, I got shoes at home. I walk around inside the house. I don't usually wear shoes, but lately, because of the fasciitis, the plantar fasciitis, which what happens is if you're walking for a long distance, there's an extra heel pads. Yeah. It's that, that's something that a lot of people experience. And I had it before for a year, and I went to physical therapy 3 times a week. I had electrotherapy, massage, heat. I had everything 3 times a week. It cost me like 2,300 baht a week for a year. I had to pay for that. That sucked. And I just got the Dr. Scholl's plantar fasciitis pain reliever, which is the insoles. I have the insoles, and I am using those, and my foot feels pretty good, but I do feel it kind of pushing on the underside of my foot. Now the thing is I've been contemplating, I don't know if I should go, or maybe I'll just go kayaking instead, or maybe I'll do something a little bit easier. I'll just kind of lay back. But of course I consult ChatGPT. I consult it on a lot of things. It steers me in the right direction, and then I just narrow things down. And it said you need to be icing your foot with a bottle. You fill a bottle up with water, you put it in the freezer, and you very gently roll your foot on the ice at night. You wear these kind of shoes on the inside. You get massage. You tape your foot like I'm doing. You don't walk on the steep inclines as much, not for training, because when it comes to cardio, my cardio is already pretty good. So I'm not worried about my, running out of gas, but I am worried about my foot. So that's something that I've been working on for about the last 10 days. And now I don't feel any pain. If I put some tennis shoes on, the pain goes up a little bit, but I should be able to make this trip. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get through it. And then when I get back, I got to relax the foot a little bit and just do like biking again. And then after maybe a couple of weeks, I'll be able to go back to doing what I usually do. But anyway, in Decathlon, they have some things, like they have tape. It's 200 baht. It's not great tape. The better tape is 700 baht. So I buy 1 roll of each, and you mix them. And that kind of works out a little bit better. But they also have something that I never thought I would use. Walking sticks. Poles. I'm like, I got strong legs. My legs are extremely strong. I know that from all the walking and kicking and lifting weights. I got strong legs. But those poles are meant to help you. I've been there. I've been at Koh Phangan. I've been to Koh Chang, right next to Koh Phangan. There's Koh Chang in the south and in the east. Yeah. But so I'm thinking about getting these poles, and I'm like, fuck me. Why do I have to get these poles? I got to carry. And the thing is I'm not going to show it. Maybe I'll take some photos or something. I don't know. But maybe I'll do a video before I leave of all the stuff I'm carrying. Because if you look at the bag that I carried the last time, I'm not bringing my drone this time. And you look at the bag I'm carrying now, is much smaller. And I'm like, I don't even want to carry this pack when I'm walking, because I just don't want to. I mean, I'll be carrying I'll be carrying an extra shirt and an extra pair of pants and maybe a pair of socks, and that's it. I don't need really, and water. I got a water bladder, and I kind of need that. But other than that, I mean, I don't really need to carry much stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't know what I need. You know, for 4 days, I've got a long list of things, but they're all very small. You know, I need my camera. I need, you know, batteries for the camera. I need a what do you call it? Power bank. You know, I need all this kind of stuff. So. Anyway, let me get back to this. But Thailand is a very dangerous place for Entropy. And the reason is because if you think about it, you think about how many people come to Thailand. Now, some people go, oh, I lost weight in Thailand. But I know a lot of people, they've gained weight in Thailand. You know, there's cheap food. And if you're eating Thai food all the time, I can tell you, Thai food, it's not good for you. A lot of it is not good for you. You can pick and choose the food that you want to eat and make it healthy for you. But the way they're cooking it I'm just looking at all these places around here, the way they're cooking it it's shit. When you look at the stuff in coffee shops, it's all shit. You're not getting really healthy stuff. I mean, okay, you go to Sarni's or something, you get maybe an avocado on toast with an egg or something. Yeah, it's all right. You know. Not everybody wants to watch their diet to the gram and, you know, eat like that. I understand that. But there's, you know, the food is cheap, the rent is cheap, there's low stress, there's lots of sunshine, there's plenty of coffee shops. I could go to 3 coffee shops a day very easily. And you can build a very comfortable life here, and there's nothing wrong with being comfortable, but comfort is not the destination, if you know what I mean. And that's where the shrinking kind of happens with older people. A coffee shop is fine, but it's not your identity. That's Entropy. And I almost fell into that just because I wanted to make going to coffee shops kind of like something that was very important. And I went to like 150 coffee shops. But at the end of the day, it's not something I really want to do. It's not, to me, it's not really that healthy because, first of all, you're looking at all this crappy food, and sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm just giving in. You know, you think you earned it. You think you've done enough. You think that, well, now I'm older, I can take it easy. No, it's not the time to take it easy. And little by little, your world gets smaller, your body gets softer, and your ambition gets more quiet. You don't have as many things as you want to do when you get older, and that's the predicament you're in. You get older and you want to relax. You're like, oh, I've earned this. Yeah, you can relax, but then you go, all right, I'm gonna take today off. I'm gonna chill out, and you enjoy the day. Then the next day you're like back in the gym, back to whatever you're doing. It's never too late to take that first step, and you don't have to. The thing is, you don't have to wait until you're super motivated. That's not what is important. I used to hear Evander Holyfield say this. He used to say, oh, I just do, 2 sets of 50 sit-ups or something. And he'd go, how do you got abs like this? He's like, well, I do the rest of the gym workout. He goes, but I do these things day in and day out, whether I'm training for a fight or not. I just do it. And that's why when you are thinking about going to the gym, you don't even think about it. You got your clothes out, you pick your clothes up and you go. You put your clothes on, I'm out the door, I'm going to the gym. Whether you want to go or not. And usually what I found is I go to the gym and I'm in a shitty mood and I don't feel like being there, and I'm like, fine, bitching and moaning, I'm crying about it, I don't want to be here. And by the time I'm about 15, 20 minutes in, I'm like, yeah, all right. I got an hour more of this and I'm going to make the most of it, And there was a time, it's probably 10 or 15 years, about 30 something years ago, well, about 32 years, how many years ago was it? No, it wasn't 32. It's about 25 years ago. I was in a fire and you couldn't get out. I couldn't get out of the apartment. So everybody's standing outside on the end of the apartment. I can't get out. Nobody can get out. They're just standing there. There's people crying and, you know, women crying and men, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, we're four stories up. It's like 14 meters. It's like, you know, what is it, 13 meters. That's what it was. 13 or 14 meters. Yeah, I got my watch stolen. Don't remind me of that. That's the part that irritates me. It's not that, you know, the thing is that I was in a coma for 4 days. I was busted up big time. I was in the hospital for a month and I couldn't walk. Well, it took me a year to walk 30 minutes. And then after that, I had to keep building it up. It sucked. It was the worst part of my life. That was like something that I was just like miserable. And I gained weight. I was pissy. I was grouchy all the time. Because I couldn't really do that much. And I was like, well, what I could do is control my eating, and I didn't do that. So I gained weight. Now, eventually I got to the point where I went, this is enough. I don't need to do this anymore. But there's a difference between aging and shrinkage, and I don't mean shrinking. I don't mean shrinkage down below. I mean, aging is inevitable. Shrinking, where your world shrinks, is optional. Because you're gonna get wrinkles. You're gonna slow a bit. You might lose your hair. You're gonna need and I know this, you're gonna need a longer period of time for recovery. That is aging. And shrinking is when you just decide you don't want to grow anymore. It's when you stop like lifting because it's uncomfortable. It's when you stop exploring because it's inconvenient, and when you stop creating because it's just easier to be a consumer instead of being somebody who creates things. That's surrender. That's not aging. And you know, when I see the guy in the mall, and actually it's not just one guy, it's guys, I don't really judge them. I just think I do compare myself to them, and I go, I'm scared, man. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to stop pushing. I want to go out like kicking and screaming and people go, man, that dude, he fought it tooth and nail. I don't want to be shuffling around, barely able to walk. Now that might happen. It might happen. It might be inevitable. You know, I might have a foot problem, a hip problem, a this problem, a that problem. And eventually I just go, God, I gotta use a walker now. That might happen. But I'm gonna fight it. Because I don't want to be the shuffler. I don't want to be the guy who is just kind of going, well, I'm gonna die pretty soon and I don't know when, but I'll just watch TV until I do. You know, I just don't want that. And I don't want my sons to look at me when I'm like 75 and they see somebody who just gave up. I don't want them to see that. I want them to think that he never stopped, he never gave up, he always worked hard. And you know, it's not that I'm pretending to be 25, it's not that I'm like doing things that are reckless or stupid. It's very deliberate, it's very intentional. And that's the thing. I do more, I mean, they go to the gym, I go to the gym. Okay, we do a lot of the same things. But when it comes to me traveling around and doing things like trekking, whether it's a short hike or a real trek, like this is a trek that I'm going on this time, they don't really do those things for whatever reason. It's not because they're lazy. We haven't had a chance to do it together, but they don't really do that. So I'm pursuing these things, and I'm, you know, how much older am I than them? I don't know, 39 years, 37 years older than them, something like that. So when you're young, you have a purpose, and that purpose is kind of imposed on you, and now you have to manufacture that purpose. You have to think of what is your purpose in life. My purpose in life before was to make sure that my kids are taken care of. Now I don't really have to do that as much. That's why I say I have the empty nest syndrome. It used to be, I'm going to travel, I'm going to take photos, I'm going to be a photojournalist, I'm going to write, I'm going to go all these places. I don't want to do that anymore. I've already done that, been there, done that, gone all over. I don't want to travel like that anymore. I'll tell you what, most of the time when I'm getting ready to travel, I have that little part of me going, I got to go here again. I got to get out and go out. But you know what? That's the lazy part of me. The other part of me is going, let's go. Let's go do it. You know, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go. I better dedicate myself 100% to going there. And that's the choice you make, and that's very powerful when you think about it. It's powerful that you choose, I'm going here. I'm going to go do that. Even if it's just, I'm going to take a trip to, you know, to the next state over or something. Now, once you take when you do something like you take a trek or you go kayaking or canoeing or whatever it is, and you've trained for months and then you do it, there is a letdown, and that's a bit dangerous. But I know, for me, it's I'm going to take a trip every 2 or 3 months somewhere, and I've got a couple of places lined up. I got one place lined up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it just because of finances, logistics, timing, and there's a lot of things. But you need 4, I've talked about it before, you need 4 rangers in order to be able to do this trek, and it's a week-long trek. You're sleeping with them, you're eating food together with them. In fact, I got to pay for the food if I want them to go. You're doing everything with them. So, listen, Thailand is big enough right now. Everybody's telling me, oh, go here, go there, do this. Listen, okay, you guys pay for it. Go ahead, do it. You know, I know about Nepal, believe me. I know all about Nepal. I went there. I went to Nepal, and I want to go back. But there are things now that I need to conquer. And one thing that I've been thinking about is, if I go and do some hard treks, and I do them, I don't have to do hard treks all the time. I don't have to do week-long, 2-week expeditions where I'm sleeping rough, and I don't have to do them all the time. I can go somewhere for 3-4 days, and it might not be easy, but I can just do that, and that's fine, because guess what? I might be a little more limited to how far I can walk and what I can do. You know, so I have to always keep that in mind, that I want to push the limit, but I don't want to push so far that like I'm being airlifted out. If that happens, it's not gonna be because I was a dumbass. It's gonna be because something happened that is somewhat catastrophic. But when you come back, there's always a little drop. You're a little bit flat, and it's not really depression, but it's just kind of like, okay, so I did what I wanted to, just like with Umpang, that's what it was with me. And Umpang was it was the trek through the forest, even though it wasn't like, you know, slashing your way through the jungle. Just because it was like this, it was a hard trek. But it wasn't that hard, if you know what I mean. It was hard, but now I'm on to something that's a little harder in kind of different ways. So, and I think humans are kind of, they are wired for pursuit. They're wired to always trying to be doing something. And when they give up, that's when life is pretty much over. If you give up and you go, well, I think now I'll just settle into the lazy boy and put my feet up, and you know, there's no challenge. And with challenge you need effort to achieve your accomplishments, to achieve what you want, and then you have to reset. Then you have to do it all over again. Now, you know what I think when I go now? When I get ready to fly out somewhere, I think to myself, I wonder how many hundreds of flights I've taken. I wonder how many trips I've taken. 500, 1,000, how many trips have I taken? And we're doing it all over again. You know, every time I get on a plane, I go, the more I fly, the greater the chances this plane might crash. I mean, I think that way. And, you know, the thing is that your body will tell you the truth. Your body will tell you. I can tell you right now, like my shoulder hurts, but it also hurts right down to here. And I've been doing these little pendulum swings to try to get my shoulder a little bit better. It seems to be getting better, but, you know, it's not 100%. And I know my body. And I know I don't want to stop training because, oh, I've got a little shoulder pain. I don't want to lose my cardio. I don't want to lose what muscles I have, what muscles I do have. I don't want to be the guy going, when I walk, I'm like all hunched over. And no, I like to be, you know, I sit up straight, you know. I walk straight. And, you know, most men over 60 years old, they're not really that old because 60 is not that old. They're kind of detrained. They're different. And detrained kind of looks, or untrained, if you will, looks like you're old. But it's reversible to some degree. You can improve your VO2, which is very important. You can gain strength. I'm constantly working on my grip strength, and I notice it now. I notice my grip strength is a lot stronger than it used to be. I mean, like, to where it's like, I'm like, holy shit. Like, I crush my kid's hand. If I'm squeezing, if we're shaking hands, I could, like, just close down a little bit, and he'd go, no, don't do it. And I like that. Not because I like crushing his hand, but just because you're improving. That's the only thing. It doesn't matter about somebody else being stronger than me or weaker than me or whatever, and I'm leaning out. And, you know, I may never be somebody who's elite. I'm trying to get to where I'm at on the rowing machine. I'm over 2,500 meters in 10 minutes. I'm at 23 right now. That's my best, 2,300. And that's considered very good, 2,500, and you're in, I think, the top 15% or something like that. Right now, I think I'm in the top 25%, something like that. So I'm not declining, and I don't want to decline in the softness, and I don't think, men, if you really want to be a true man, why would you be this powder puff? I mean, I see these guys walking around, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's like 22 years old, and he's like, he hasn't taken care of himself. There used to be a guy that works here. His name is Ray. Okay? He was always nice to me. I was always nice to him here. He was very cool with me. You know, and he spoke a little bit of English and we would speak back and forth. And I liked the guy. He was a nice guy. So he gave me his Instagram and I gave him my Instagram. And I started following him, and he's got a motorcycle. And he's into training now. He's into fitness. And he used to be, like, I would call him a baby Huey, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, kind of like big belly, kind of big ass, big legs, thin up top. Now he's not like that. He's very fit. This Thai guy, he's about 25 years old, something like that. He's very fit. And I watch his Instagram because I'm like, yes, man, this guy's doing it. He's going out and doing something. He's not just settling in going, well, I'll just be a fat fuck for the rest of my life. You know, not that I want to be body shaming anybody because, I've been fat. I know what it's like. But I think you have to look at it instead of thinking about somebody body shaming you. You have to think about, okay, so how can I reverse this? What am I going to do about it? What's the solution to the problem? Am I just going to yell and scream and be a fat bastard or what? How about hiring a housemaid to cook homemade food for you? Why? I don't need them to do that. I don't need a housemaid to cook my food. I make everything myself, and I'm very proud of that. And I use the air fryer for a lot of stuff. I don't have to hire anybody. I said that yesterday, actually. I said that to my kids. I said, your mother needs to hire somebody to cook our food for us. But I thought about it and I'm like, well, how are they going to do that? First of all, an extra person in our house is like one too many. Second of all, I don't want anybody in my house when I'm not there. Third of all, they're going to have to cook a bunch of different foods for all of us because, all right, my kids might eat the same thing. My wife will eat something different because she likes South food. I'm not going to eat what they eat because I'm not eating noodles. I'm not eating rice. I'm not eating pasta very often. I mean, I had some pasta the other day, but I don't eat pasta. I'm not eating bread, for the most part. So I don't want them cooking for me. So that's the answer to that question. Any recommendations for buying coffee beans in Thailand? I just buy from Pacamara, man. I buy from Pacamara. I used to buy Illy in the mall, in the gourmet market. They got Illy coffee. It's on sale right now. It used to be $6.99. It's $7.99 now. But you can get it for, I think it's $7.19 for, I'm not sure if it's 200, I think it's 250 grams. So it's a little bit expensive, but you'll find it. You'll find places and you just find the coffee that you like. And, I don't like a lot of the Thai coffees. When I make it, I don't really like it. I like kind of imported coffees or mixes, that kind of thing. Let's see here. Any recommendation? Okay, you got your watch stolen. Yes, I got my watch stolen. Now, I did get my watch. I got a watch band because I didn't have to pay that much for it. I bought this the other day, so I got my watch back. So now I have 2 watches, which I haven't had in years. Malaysia, Nepal, I'm 69 and still go to the gym 6 days a week at my condo in Banchak. Oh, that's good. I was going 6 days a week, and I stopped doing that because I thought I needed a little more recovery time. I went to one yoga class. I did do a yoga the other day because I knew the girls' class was pretty easy, so I did that. And I lifted and did cardio 5 days a week, but with my foot and my shoulder, I just went, you know what? The recuperation time is more important than trying to push myself even more. So that's why I'm not doing that. But if I could, I'd be going there 6 days a week. And maybe when I get back, that's what I'll do. Have you tried Chinese cupping therapy treatment for your shoulder? No, I haven't. But I have had Chinese cupping done to me before. And listen, all those things are good if you're going all the time. They're very good if you're going all the time. This is a shoulder tear. This is a rotator cuff tear. They tend to heal quite slowly. Everybody I know, and I've had 2 boxers that went in and had surgery done on their shoulder. And even one of the ones was okay, and the other guy, his shoulder was not okay. He still had problems with it. So once you have a shoulder issue, my mother has a shoulder issue, my wife has a shoulder issue, my father has a shoulder issue, my buddy Billy has a shoulder issue, Jono might have a shoulder, all of us have shoulder issues. And the thing that you can do is you can do exercises in the gym, just things like this, and there's all kinds of exercises you can do that will build muscle around in the right areas to be able to prevent something like that happening. But when it happened to me, it was really strange because I didn't feel any I fell this way and that's why my shoulders, I didn't even feel it. It just kind of happened and I go, oh shit, my arm is sore. And now if I go like this, my arm is sore. My right bicep is not like my left bicep is a lot bigger than my right bicep. Well, maybe it's not as big, but it's more defined and it's stronger and it feels better. So, anyway, these kind of things happen sometimes, but you just, it's like anything else. You try to get to the solution and don't always worry about the problem. So now, Even in marriage, entropy can show up. You stop trying, you stop flirting with each other, you stop touching each other, you stop talking sweetly to each other. Now, not that we do this, me and my wife, our relationship is pretty good. And then, you know, after say 30 years, which is, we've been together for what, 28 or something like that, you might think, oh, you're gonna drift apart. Well, we don't let ourselves drift apart. You know, it's just we don't let that happen. We kind of work on it all the time, but it's like a muscle. Marriage is like a muscle. It requires tension, not bad tension, fighting tension, but growth tension and intentional energy that you spend on one another and that you spend, you know why you're married. Let's see here. What else do I have here? Living overseas can be powerful. It can reinvent you, or it can shrink you. Listen, it reinvented me, man. I came over here and I forgot everything that was over there. I got friends that are still there, but when it came to work and things like that, I just went, that's it. I'm moving on with my life. And some guys come to Thailand and build, and other guys come and hide. And, you know, they hide behind the cheap beer, the cheap distractions, the low expectations, women. They get caught up in all this. And before they know it, they're screwed. And, you know, I just did a video the other day about losing control here. You have to have a modicum of control. You have to be able to control yourself, control your emotions. You have to learn and be progressing. Because if you're not, then eventually what's going to happen is you're just going to keep repeating the same old things. You're not going to learn from them. You're not going to progress. You're not going to get better, smarter, wiser. And nobody here gives a shit about you. I will tell you that right now. Don't expect to come over here and if you fall flat on your face, everybody's going to help you. They're going to put a helping hand out and they're going to help you up and they're going to give you money and help you get by. No, that's not how it works here. You don't have some support system. You don't have a safety net. And nobody's going to stop you from being a fuck up. You'll end up on the street like some guys. And this is the thing, you know, if you reinvent yourself, you can do things like start a business, you can learn Thai, you can start a YouTube channel if that's what you want to do. Not that there aren't enough Thai YouTube channels now, but I mean, whatever. That's neither here nor there. You can train, you can exercise. You can travel more, which is that's what I wanted to do when I came here, and I have done that. I wanted to use Thailand as the hub. You know, it can be your launch pad or it can be your hammock. You can do whatever you want. If you want. When I first thought of coming to Thailand, I was going down the Ma Ping in northern Thailand, the Ping River. And I thought to myself, God, all I need is about $500 a month and I can chill out in some little bungalow. I'd have Thai food, I'd have rice and fish and whatever I need. I'd be living good. And I thought, you know, okay, all I got to do is make like $500 a month. And, you know, if I got savings, that'll last for a while. And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, that sounds great. Oh, I want to chill out and do that and just do nothing but screw. Screw and eat, and, you know. But then when you think about it, you get tired of everything. You got to have new things coming into your life, doing new things. And listen, that's why I've changed my channel a couple of times. I've changed it over from what I've been doing. It's not just I talk about Thailand, or I talk about chicks, or I talk about relationships. I always am changing it up a little bit because you got to be changing things just to keep it interesting for me. So you got to have some kind of a pursuit, an aggressive pursuit. And I don't mean chaos. I don't mean, you know, I say fly by the seat of my pants, and that's what I do sometimes, but I don't do it stupidly. I kind of think about it before I decide which direction to head into. And you don't need to break yourself. I don't mean that. I mean that you need to you don't need to really let life be narrowed down without giving it a fight. It's like, if you want to do something, go do it. Go in that direction. Don't accept, oh, I'm going to be a chubby bastard, I'm going to be out of shape, or I'm going to be this guy who never does anything. Don't accept that shit. You can't accept softness. Men are not supposed to be softies. And that's why I say, and I mean this with all due respect to men around the world, in this time, in history, men are a bunch of pussies. You think about all the things that people have accomplished. I mean, look at Lewis and Clark. Jesus Christ. You think about people going across the ocean in a wooden boat. And they don't have refrigerators. It's not like, oh, turn the aircon on in the captain's room. No, you can't do that shit. So you got to choose hard things on purpose. Yeah, you can mix it in with easy things. You can enjoy life a little bit. And that's why generally you go on a hard trek, you come back, you chill for a day or two or a week, depending on how hard it was. And then you slowly start getting back into it and planning what you want to do. That's what I do. I plan a lot. And I've said it before. I might plan 10 trips. It used to be I'd plan 10 trips and maybe I'd take 2 or 3. Now I plan 3 trips and I take 2. Because I don't want to waste my time anymore. So, if you're somebody who is in your 60s and you're trekking in the jungle, you're not like doing it so you can go, oh, I'm going on a hike. You're doing it because that's your identity. For me, this is something I want to do it because I've always been a guy. I wrestled, I boxed, I did kickboxing, I did Muay Thai, I did karate, I lifted weights, I do rowing, I do trekking, I do kayaking. I've had an active life. If you're rowing, say 2,000 meters, which is what I do, and you care about your split, it's not about your ego, it's about saying, I want to see where I am against all the other people my age so that you know, hey, well, I'm in the bottom 5%. Well, guess what? You better improve yourself. Work on it. You can do it. It's not about vanity. It's not about watching what you eat and being vain. It's about just trying to live the best life you can for as long as you live. And I've been thinking about this shit for a long time. What is life about? Well, it's about enjoying your life for as long as you can. I don't want people wiping my ass or, cleaning up after me like that. But that may inevitably happen. I don't know, but I hope not. But the big question is, if you're old enough, is that all that's left? And if you stop making a choice on what you're doing, then your answer is yes. That's all you can do. You're not doing anything more. Adventure doesn't have an age limit, and curiosity doesn't have an expiration date. Intensity doesn't belong only to people who are young. You don't have to go out and party. You don't have to drink. You don't have to smoke weed. You don't have to prove anything. But you do need a trajectory. And entropy, the decline, there is no trajectory. It's all downhill. That's the only trajectory. You're going down. And entropy hates trajectory. Okay? And you always got to have that next mountain. I guess that's what it is. You got to have the next mountain to climb. It can be a creative goal, a physical goal, a financial target, a skill. It can be a trip. It can be a documentary, a personal record. Listen, I'm nowhere near the kind of filmmaker I'd like to be. I'm not even close. I'm like about 2% of what I'd like to be. But I try. That's all. I do my best. But I'm still going out there doing it. You know what I mean? And if you don't have those goals, then everything just is a blur. Days blur, weeks blur, years blur, and then one day you're the guy in the mall who's shuffling your feet around. You ain't doing shit. You're like, what'd you do today? I went and bought a pen. And then got something to eat. It's like, you know, what is that, Cheech and Chong, the summer vacation? I forget how it goes, but, you know. On the first day of my summer vacation, I woke up. You know, it's like that kind of a life. You don't want to have that. And, you know, it's not about fame. It's not about, you know, oh, I want to be a superstar. But I do care about my legacy. I want my kids to remember me, and hopefully their kids will know me and remember me. You know, that's all you can hope for. And, you know, what kind of example am I setting? I don't want my kids to go, well, my dad was a big fat pussy. He didn't do anything. He was a pussy. No, they're not going to say that. They know already I'm not. They know I'm different. I'm not the same as a lot of guys who are in their 60s. And I know there are people in their 60s. I look at them and I go, wow, I'm in awe of this guy. This guy is incredible. But I'm the father. So they look at me and they go, wow, he's old. And they think of me as old now. And I asked my wife today and she goes, oh yeah, you're an old man. And I'm like, what? I go, come on, I'm not that old. And she goes, you asked, I told you, you're an old man. So, you know, I do this, and I also, listen, I will say that when I put up videos, I do it for the viewers that care a little bit. And I do it for myself. And when I'm 75, I don't want to say that I used to, or I want to say I'm still doing it, and that is the difference. I am still here. I'm still working on it. And, you know, entropy will win eventually. Old age will catch up because you can't beat time. You can't escape aging. There's just, nobody's immortal. You know what I'm saying? But you can compress the decline, and you can extend your vitality and delay fragility, and you can push back. Now, after I'm done streaming, I'm going to go right over to Decathlon when they open up, and I'm going to go buy a couple of walking sticks, because as much as part of me is like, I don't need those walking sticks, I know that they'll be useful, and I can probably use them, and they will be helpful, because maybe I need them now that I'm older. I don't know, you know, maybe they'll come in very useful. But the bottom line is, all this shit that I've been talking about, the bottom line is you got to push back. You can't just let everything happen to you and just go, well, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to train. I'm not going to I'm going to eat that piece of pie. I'm going to get fat. Don't do that. I heard Billy Bob Thornton say if he hits 80, he's going to do all the things that he never could do when he was younger because he wanted to live to be old. Now, that's pretty cool. But, you know, within reason. So I was just kind of wondering how many of you guys feel like maybe you're just drifting, or you're on the downslide and you're not really motivated to do anything, and you don't really care. I'm kind of wondering about it because I don't feel like anybody's going to tell me they are. How many older expats do you figure end up in Southeast Asia as a bar stool and drunk almost nonstop? Seems like a lot. I don't know. I don't think it's quite as many as you might think, you know. I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, there's always a couple guys in the bar, you know, and then how many bars, let me see something here. I know there's really no way to tell that because there are no studies being done. Maybe that's something I should do. You know what I have thought about doing? I see somebody that looks kind of old, and I have done this a few times, and I've been surprised. But I'll see somebody who's older, and I'll ask them, hey, how you doing? And, you know, I'm just wondering, how old are you? Because I'm just kind of wondering, because, you know, I'm getting older and that. And sometimes they surprise me and they're younger than me. Now, sometimes they're older, and then usually I just go, yeah, so what do? You do anything like to keep healthy or anything like that? But it says a significant percentage of long-term Western expats in Thailand eventually slide into a sedentary, bar-centric lifestyle. Not all, but enough that it's a visible pattern in places like Pattaya, Phuket, Hua Hin, and parts of Chiang Mai. And why it happens is the environment makes it easy. Cheap alcohol, cheap food, warm weather, no pressure to perform, and a social circle built around bars. You don't need a big income. Nobody expects much from you. Well, nobody expects anything from you. Really. Not here. Unless you're working in a company, nobody expects anything from you. But in the West, people have structure. Men have structure. In Thailand, there is none. Vacation mindset never switches off. Some people think they'll reset their lives. Instead, they stay on permanent holiday mode. Number 3, isolation. Many lose professional identity. Well, I don't have a professional identity really, not like I used to in boxing and with photojournalism. I don't have the same kind of identity. But that's okay for me. I mean, you know, but bars become social hubs without family or meaningful work. Routine becomes drinking, talking, and waiting. Aging accelerates it. Health problems, reduced mobility, and lower testosterone leads to less activity. Once physical decline begins, it's easier to stay in the chair than fight back. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you had to guess, based on observation in heavy expat areas, maybe 20 to 30% stay active and engaged long term. 40 to 50% become sedentary over time, and a smaller but visible group end up in full decline. Varies by location. Thailand doesn't make men weak, it reveals who they are already. Some use the freedom to build health, adventure, creativity, and business. Thank you. Others use it to avoid responsibility, discomfort, and growth. This country is a platform, not destiny. If you want to strengthen your thoughts here, Thailand didn't ruin these men. It simply removed the pressure that kept them moving. That line will resonate because it shifts the focus from blaming the place to owning personal responsibility. And that's what it's all about. You're responsible for yourself. I don't believe any of this shit, you know. I got another 10 years to travel. I think, touch wood. Well, that's great, man. And you had a heart issue, and you're still pushing on. So, I mean, I look up to you, and I think you're older than me by several years. How many older? Oh, yeah, okay, I already said that. Yeah. You're a few years older than me, right? And, you know, you had a heart issue, you had to have surgery, and you're still pushing on. And that's what I mean. You can't be this guy who just goes, well, I think today I'm going to go out into the front yard and breathe. Then I'll go back inside and I'm going to have a bowl of cereal and some bacon. And then I'm going to sit down in my chair and watch TV all day. That is not, you know, the right way to go. Yeah, you're 8 years older than me. So you're doing good, man. I'd say keep pushing. Keep pushing it as long as you can. Now, your choice is always there. You always have the choice to not give up. And, you know, I don't want, this is what it really got me thinking is I don't want mall laps to be the highlight of my day. You know, I just don't want that. Oh, there's all these foreigners coming in. I don't want coffee shop conversations to be the highlight of my day, to be the summit. I don't want those, you know, to be breaks. These are my breaks between watching TV. Well, I'm going to go to the coffee shop. Yeah, honey, I'm going to the coffee shop. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to watch, you know, Sopranos. And as long as you keep choosing, you keep fighting, you keep going on, you're in the game. Whether you die a traumatic death or you die from death or illness or you just go in your sleep, there's only one way to head through the exit, and that's kicking and screaming. You got to do everything you can to stay in the game. And, you know, if I live to be 100, I'm going to be doing something to better myself every single day. Even if it's just I'm going to grab a couple of hand grips and I'm going to strengthen my grip or whatever it is, I'm going to keep doing something. You know, I want to better my state until death, you know, just snatches life away from me. I have no say in the matter anymore. Until that comes, I plan on pushing myself every single day, and that's what it's all about. And, you know, living to a ripe old age, you know, I know people that tell me, I'm going to die soon, I'm not going to be alive that much longer, and they're not sure. Well, neither am I. I could die in, you know, I could walk outside and something happens and I'm dead. But then again, I could live to be 100. You don't know. And, you know, that's the thing. It is kind of like the roulette wheel. It's like gambling. You don't really know. But you got to prepare yourself the best that you can. You know? So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it if you have any. Anybody who has some thoughts on this, Robert or Andy or Sam, if you're still here, Bradley, whoever it is, Bruce. What is this guy's name? K-Thong 5603. Whoever it is. If you got something to say about it and you think a certain way about it, I'd like to hear it because I got my own way of thinking about this. And, you know, like I talk to my parents about it and I bring up death and they're like, why are you being so morbid? I'm not being morbid. I'm just being honest with myself. I don't want to be morbid. That's not the intention. I just think about, okay, so what can I do to stave it off? What can I do to prepare myself? What can I do? And some people never think about that. You know. There we go. Live the best version of our life. That's all I can describe. How old are you? I'm just curious. We all want to live the best version. Well, not all of us, but 51. Yeah, you got a ways to go, man. But you're getting up there, you know. See, Jono, Andy, they're older than me. They're older than me by 7, 8 years. Billy, he's younger by about 10 years. I know several people, they're about 10, 12 years younger than me. And I just think, you know, man, when I was 50, I didn't feel like I feel now. I didn't feel like I was, you know, 20 or 30. But after about 35, 40, really for me it was about 40, when I felt a little bit of a change. Once I hit 50, man, and I was like, I'm not what I used to be. And I have to be careful about that. And I think people have to be careful about that. Because when you get older, especially guys who have never had their ass handed to them or got the shit kicked out of them, they think they can just say whatever they want. And, oh, I can say whatever I want. Nobody's going to care. Well, some people, they don't care how old you are. And they might give you a smack, you know. And I'm saying that's why I try to be respectful of people. Because first of all, I don't want to get a smack for no reason. And second of all, I don't want to get into those kind of confrontations. The thing that I've learned over time is it's better just to be chilled and laid back. If somebody doesn't like you, this is the way it goes. Oh, well. I get plenty of people, believe me, I get plenty of negative comments and things like that, and I just don't care, you know. I'm going to do slow travel starting this year, doing 2 to 3 activities instead of 4 or more a day. Yeah, I'm not, Andy, I got to tell you, I'm not really the kind of guy who likes to go sightseeing. I don't like to be around a bunch of other, like, tourists. I just don't. And I don't know what it is. It's, I'm sure if I went to Italy, there are places I'd go there where I'd be like, okay, I'm in Italy. I got to go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I got to go do this. I got to do that. But for the most part, I don't even care that I don't go to those places anymore. I care about being at home with my family. And I'll tell you what, I do like Thailand, of course. That's why I live here. You see, now she's an older woman, not trying to be derogatory in any fashion, but she's an older woman, and she's using a cane. She probably has to. But I don't know how old she is. She might be 80, But she's still up and around and mobile, and that's what's important, But yeah, I just don't like doing those tourist things. I don't know what it is. I just, maybe 5-10 years ago, I just was like, I don't want to be around a bunch of tourists. I don't want to be around a bunch of Chinese, Japanese, Americans, British, all, screaming how good this place, or, oh, wow, I can't believe this place, or, stuff like that. And I know sometimes you can't avoid it. You want to go somewhere, you got to see certain things. You're going to have to be around other tourists. But that's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing now, which is I'm going on a hard track. I'll be out in the woods. And, I don't know what kind of footage I'm going to get. I have no idea. Might do more tours instead of going everywhere by myself. I have 2 tours booked in Borneo so far. Well, that might be nice. Go see the orangutan. Go into the jungle, see if you can find some pythons, man. They got some gnarly pythons there. That's the kind of stuff I want to do. I want to go, honestly, I want to go see some crocs in Australia. I want to go and see some crocs on the Nile River. Those are the kind of things I want to do. Those are the kind of things that excite me. Those things, I'd be like, all right, I want to go, man. And I might. Just depends. There's only so many, hey, Paul, how you doing? There's only so many things that I can do and only so much time I have. And then, I do have a wife. I got kids. Surprised you went to Bana Hills since you're not big on tourists. Yeah, I didn't want to go there. But I was with family. They all wanted to go. I was like, all right, I'll go. And I did say, it's the kind of place you go once. Maybe you go in the morning. And if you want to go again, you go at night or, in the evening. And that's it. You don't need to go more than once or twice because it's a tourist trap. That's all it is. But, listen, we had a good time. But we had a good time because our family was together. We were enjoying it. We went drinking in the pub, watching all the dancing. They weren't German, but the German beer hall, and we went doing things like that. It was kind of cool, So that was interesting. But most of the things that I do are with family. And listen, we've been thinking about going to Miami. But it's like it's $1,500 a ticket. It's $6,000 for 4 people to go. I'm like, I could just go by myself. You guys don't have to go. And, we wouldn't spend that much money. I mean, it's like, I don't think that any of us are going to be like, oh, let's go here, let's go there. I don't want my mother dragging us around, She's older. Orangutans booked, jungle tour booked, might hire a car for a few days. Oh, that's good, yeah. Yeah, that sounds like fun. You're kind of like me in that you go everywhere solo. I mean, I've gone a lot of places solo, a lot more than I went with my wife or my kids. Now, I wouldn't mind going like with Alex or with Nicholas alone, one of them. So Alex has taken time off from work. And if we go, we go. If we don't, we don't. But, you know, all I know is we got to come up with that money, and that's just to get there and come back. And I don't want to go anywhere like the last time where we're going to Europe and going to Ecuador. I don't want to do that. It's just too much, man. You know, it's just too much stuff. I mean, if we had like 2 or 3 months, okay. All right, I'm going to go to Ecuador for 2 or 3 weeks, you know, something like that. But I don't really want to do that. So that's life, you know. You go and see some things, and now I've seen a lot. I've seen almost everything I want to see. There's only a few things left to see on my bucket list. And, you know, hopefully I'll see them. If I don't, I don't. You know, you do what you can. You push towards what you want, and you try to do everything that you want to do and that you feel like you need to do. And then if you do it, great. If you don't, well, you got something to look forward to in the next life, you know. Anyway, so listen, it's been a nice stream, kind of laid back. But I would say the one thing to get from this is just don't give up. And if you're getting older, just modify everything and just go, well, I can't run a mile in 4.5 minutes, but that doesn't mean that I can't walk a mile in 12 minutes or 15 minutes. Just do something. My diet is very strict. I eat Greek yogurt, I eat cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchini, bell peppers. For protein, I have like shrimp, tuna, salmon, mackerel, canned mackerel. I have beef burgers, I have lamb burgers, I have lamb chops. Sometimes I'll have some lamb sausage or something like that. I have egg whites, I have cheese. You know, I kind of keep it in check. The cheese and peanut butter, I try to keep no more than like once every 2 or 3 days. But if I have a burger, I like to have cheese on it. So, and I don't have any bread with the burger, none of that stuff. But shrimp is great. The problem is shrimp is a little expensive. Sometimes they have 2-for-1 deals here, and when they do, I snatch up all the shrimp I can get. They have right now. They have extra large shrimp, and 2 packs. I think they're 250 grams a pack. 2 packs are 300 baht. Nightshades like tomatoes, actually good for you. I don't know what nightshades. Oh, you're talking about the flower, yeah. Yeah, they're good for you, man. They're good for you. I get bell peppers. I get these things called sweet bite peppers. Just chili peppers. I have those. And like I said, I eat a lot of Greek yogurt. I don't eat quite as much as I used to. I used to eat about 300 grams to 400 grams a day. Now I'm down to about 250. And then I have whey powder, and that has anywhere from about 25 to about 37 grams of fat in each scoop. And sometimes I have 1 scoop, sometimes I have 1.5 scoops, sometimes I have 2 scoops. And if I do have any bread, it's like I eat like real whole wheat sourdough bread. It's, you know, it's the best. It's awesome bread. And sometimes I'll have organic pumpkin bread, which is fantastic, but not very often. I try to keep the bread and pasta and rice. I don't have any rice. Try to keep all that to like, the numbers are very low, man. I mean, it's like, maybe it's 240 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, maybe 50, and maybe 70, maybe 60 to 100 grams of fat. So I keep it all pretty, it's pretty in check, you know. I mean, you know, I don't go out and buy, you know, like a piece of cake, or I'm just going to get a piece of cake for me today, or soda or anything. I don't do any of that shit anymore. Nothing. I haven't done it in a year. You know, a good solid year at least. I don't even know. I'm just saying a year, but maybe even more. But no sugar, no added salt, none of that. So, you know, I mean, you don't have to add salt. You know, you don't. You don't need to add salt. And you don't need to add sugar. There are ways to do everything, and quite frankly, I don't miss any of the sweets. I don't miss sweets. I don't miss them. I don't miss eating a big piece of cake or ice. I haven't had ice cream in, God, it's been probably a year and a half since I had any ice cream, and I don't miss it. I just don't think about it, you know. And even breakfast, most of the time I don't eat breakfast. If I do eat breakfast, it's maybe an omelet with 2 or 3 egg whites and 1 whole egg, a little bit of cheese, some tomato, onion, garlic, peppers, or I'll have a whey protein shake, you know, and that's about it. So, and I have coffee, you know. I only drink coffee, tea occasionally, and water. That's it. I don't have anything else. So, anyway, it's been fun. I'll see you in another couple of weeks. Maybe when I get back from the trip. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I have a buddy that's from Saudi, and he swears by dates and camel milk. I'm not into milks, man. You know, I don't like drinking milk. The only thing I might have once in a great while is coconut milk, but even that, or coconut water, and even that, I just don't want the sugar. I don't want the natural sugar. I don't want it. I'd rather get some electrolytes and put some electrolytes in water. In fact, I have one electrolyte pack every single day. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe it's because they're who knows, man. They're 90 years old. They're 90 years old. They're not banging 90-year-olds and having kids. I know that. They're banging younger women. But anyway, listen, it's been fun. It's been a good time. And thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. And let's see, what did I forget? See you later, Andy. What was it that I forgot? It's about I still have the book, the Expat Survival Guide 2025, Living Smart in Thailand. You can download the PDF instantly for $9.99 and get the no BS truth about visas, money transfers, scams, bar girls, healthcare, daily survival, and more. And the link is down below. Just click on that link and you'll get a plethora of information. Everything's down in the description if you want to, whatever you want to look for. So that's about it. But thank you very much once again for joining me. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you again soon. It's time to go. Yeah, no problem. It's time to go. I got to get ready. I got to get ready for this trip. I leave very early on Friday morning, or Sunday morning rather. Friday morning. Today's what? Thursday. Yeah, so I got Friday, Saturday, and boom, I leave. So I'm ready to go. Time to go. I'm all packed anyway. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. My name is Scott. Choke D, Leo Jerkin Mai. I will talk to you soon. That means thank you and see you again. Surprise. Man, I've been talking about this trip for months. 2 months. Since the last trip, I've been talking about this. It's not a surprise, man. Anyway, Sariang in the jungle near Myanmar. Anyway, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.